Knows that y'all represent the V, the 757, right?
To the fullest.
And I was in here, we talked to Skills one day last week. Of course, Skills project dropped last week.
Right.
Well,
yeah, $1 Million Backpack.
$1 Million Backpack, which is a great CD. And we were talking about the fact that the 757 doesn't always support the 757's artists.
Okay.
Or though not even artists or people who become successful and go beyond the 757. Let's talk for a minute about the non-support, and then we'll go to the support. Let's talk about the non-support.
Yeah, because I was about to say, you know, it's a lot of love.
Right.
Hey, it's a lot of love, but it's a lot of love in the 757.
Right, it's major love. But when you look at the point that I made to Skills was that the song "Don't Act Like You Don't Know," which was his joint last year we had with Freeway, was probably one of the dopest records that you would hear of that time period. And to me, within the last 6 months, 20,000 Money Making Brothers was one of the dopest songs that you would hear. But that song you would not hear on Virginia radio. But if you go down to Miami and let's say Plies, Ross, Trick drops a new record on a mixtape that's of the same caliber, they burning it to death. You understand what I'm saying? So like, how do you all feel about the non-support that VA has for us?
I mean, I've been you know, myself trying to find out a way, if there's any way, to just capitalize on our outlets that we have here in Virginia, as far as radio goes, so on and so forth. Because I think, I mean, just to me personally, it's one of the most frustrating things to you know, be home, like to be elsewhere and hear your record, and then to come home and you don't hear it as much, or you watch the support that other regions have. But you know, and it always, you know, we always be in the street and people be like, yo, when you gonna put somebody else on, and da da da, and so on and so forth. And it's like, even if I did, this isn't where we start at. You don't start with me. Like this isn't where we're supposed to start at. We're supposed to start with the powers that be, radio, that you know can call the shots. I mean, local radio is still playing by the rules. When I go to Atlanta, I can hear a new Gucci Mane record. Ever I want to hear it.
Or even an artist that you may not have even heard of.
But I'm saying Gucci Mane because it's not that it's not about him being a platinum artist or even a gold artist. Support. It's just support. Period. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it's about. I you know, I think it's a big issue.
Well, what can we do? What can we do to change that? Because I kind of pride myself on carrying that flag. You know what I mean? Y'all have known me forever. I pride myself on carrying that flag.
And commend you on it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. What can we do to change it? Because I'm all about resolution. Like, it's an issue, it needs to be resolved.
I mean, to me, it's just it should be an unspoken rule that if you have a major deal and you are in an area or a region, whatever you give radio,
it should be accepted.
It must be accepted. Period.
Why wasn't? And this is just me talking. I'm going a little tangent there. Why wasn't the Beeper record in heavy rotation in every radio station?
Who knows?
You understand what I'm saying?
Who knows?
Like, why wasn't that? Like I said, why wasn't?
You can hear it here though.
Yeah, you can hear it here.
You can hear it here.
But like I say, 20,000 Money Making Brothers. You might hear it once or twice in a mix show. Maybe. Maybe. Possibly if the person is feeling right. But you know, I don't understand it. Like, and then a lot of us get upset when they see that P ain't here no more, or that Missy ain't here no more, or that Tim ain't here no more. You know, how can you blame them? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, you're in radio. What do you think that's due to?
I think it's honestly.
Yeah, tell me. Let us in.
I'm gonna be frank. Please. Honestly, I think that there's a good old boys network in place, and that quote unquote good old boys network is trapped in 1995. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's certain people that have to realize that 1995, 1996, 1997 is done. You know what I mean? Like, we all love that era of hip hop. We all came up on Mobb Deep. We all came up on Nas. We all came up on Jay. We all came up on Biggie, Junior Mafia, whatever.
That was the best.
Era is done. Yeah, but it's done. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you listen to certain radio stations in the area, you still hearing Junior Mafia, you're still hearing Reasonable Doubt, which is cool. But if I'm 21, 22 years old, I want to hear, if I'm from Virginia, I want to hear the new Clipse record. Case in point, hold on. Case in point, I'm really going on a tangent now, but it's all right. Case in point, I'm going to tell you.
Preach.
I was listening to another radio station in the market, right? This is about maybe a week ago. And the Games Pain remix came on. Okay? So, in the Games Pain remix, it goes, what, Game,
right.
Fat Joe, I believe.
Bun B.
Pusha T. Okay.
Right.
So we get to Bun B, and Pusha T's verse is cut off. So I'm like, okay, just thinking from a Virginia standpoint, just because you're saying things in that song that I can relate to. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Like I seen Teddy Riley driving with the Porsches down the beach that year.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I can relate to that. So just as a Virginian, to me, that should be the first verse that's played. And then you backtrack to the other 2 or 3 verses. You feel what I'm saying?
Well, at least just make sure you get to the verse.
You gotta get to it.
Make sure you get to it.
You gotta get to it.
Yeah.
But you can't just like cut it off like Pusha T comes on it and it's you backspinning the record. Nah, man, you ain't playing fair. You feel me? Just because you might not agree with, you know what I mean? Just because you say, okay, I'm gonna play this because this is on the playlist and this is what the boss is, this, that, and the third, so I'm gonna get it in for 45 seconds and we out.
So what does that mean when it is cut off at the end? Because I go like on the end of a lot of records. Like, what does that mean? It's not sabotage, is it?
No, I don't think that's sabotage. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
You know
Could
what?
It just be time?
It could be.
I think honestly, and to put it in a nutshell, like I said, we need to accept the fact that everyone can't be an A&R.
Right.
Number one.
Right.
Everyone can't be an A&R.
Right.
The opinion of radio DJs, you know, their own personal likes and dislikes
shouldn't matter.
Don't need to come across.
Right.
And I mean, I'm just talking from a Virginia standpoint, and like I said, having 2 major deals at this point in time, like I mean, it just needs to be a rule. Like the Grinding record. Biggest record.
Took 9 months to break.
9 months to break, and didn't break in Virginia first.
It broke in Philly first.
And that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Like, there's no excuse for it.
And that was, what, 6 years ago?
Produced by the biggest, well, at the time they weren't the biggest, but I'm talking about they were on a up and coming run of solidified hits in the market. They're definitely go-to producers at the time.
Right, absolutely.
And, you know, hey, still here. We didn't get what it was. Now, like I said, we get a lot of love in the street, so on and so forth. But I mean, we can't understand, and I've grown to accept it. I mean, honestly, I've really grown to accept it. Like I can't make anybody do anything.
Right.
So we get it how we get it. You know, but at the same time, you know, you have to remember that when you come up to me on the street and say, "Hey, why can't we be like Atlanta?" When you come to me up on the street and say, "Hey, why can't we have the following of, you know, create that same niche that Houston created or the Bay,
right?
Or you know what I'm saying, New York for that matter." You cannot ask me that,
right?
And because it don't start with me. You got to ask yourself how many times you heard my records on the radio,
right?
When I came out with a new record,
Your radio, I don't know, man. Like I said, I want to find a resolution, and it's something that really, like, it bothers me. You know what I mean? Like, now that I'm in the position that I'm in, and I've been doing radio for 7, 8 years, whatever, it bothers me to see that certain records, not even Clipse records, let's say we already established that Clipse records have been fronted on historically, so to speak. I'll put it out there like that. But you have artists that aren't signed, but if Virginia radio got behind these artists would be signed. Let's say an M. Watts or an Ambassador Rick.
Right.
Or, you know, these artists, if Virginia got behind these records, the BDS would be detected on these records. Record labels would then start to look at this region to say, okay, well, the Clipse as a whole has been successful, you know, so who knows who I'm going to pick out from that region that's going to follow up on that.
And let's be clear, that's exactly how new artists get signed from a region.
Right.
Like, you have to show. I don't care what anybody says. You can go to a club, throw as much money as you want. You can go buy all the bottles for 9 weeks straight. No one cares.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Not important.
The record label wants to see BDS spins.
That's it.
If you can show them that you can get spins, then they have something they can latch on to and they can expound on. So, once again, this is not a, I mean, and I'm asked this question. I tell you, I'm asked this question so much. Like, I'm asked this question so much. Like, yo, how come it can't be like such and such a region? Right. Atlanta, Houston, the Bay. Hey, you gotta ask the powers that be.
Yeah.
We artists in this.
Yeah.